guys, with an animal tale, lions and tigers, which is directly connected to today's guest, Carole Baskin, founder of Big Cat Rescue, the Tampa sanctuary that houses more than 100 abused and abandoned big cats. So with a reminder that we invite you to join the conversation by calling 813-239-9663 or emailing us at dj@wmnf.org. Let's welcome Carole Baskin back to Talking Animals. Good morning, Carole.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us again on Talking Animals. I think you were on the show about 6+ years ago, and more recently I think the then director of Big Cat Rescue was on, but I still think it would be sort of fruitful for those listening today for you to kind of provide a brief overview of Big Cat Rescue, the nickel tour, as it were. So, first of all, how many cats? We said over 100, but how many cats at the moment are there exactly?
We have 102 exotic cats and 6 animals who are not cats at the sanctuary.
And what are those animals?
The 6 that are not cats?
Yeah.
They're African civets and binturongs.
Wow. Okay, cool. So, is there of the ones that are cats, is there a predominant type of cat that?
We have more bobcats than anything else because of our early days when we rescued cats off of 3 different fur farms. So a lot of the initial cats were bobcats, Canada lynx, and Siberian lynx.
And for the number that you cited of the actual cats, are you at capacity, or is there a cap on the number of cats that could live there that you're either near or going to reach?
Like most accredited sanctuaries, we usually run pretty much at capacity. I have 3 empty cages right now that we could handle smaller cats up to the size of cougars. But what limits us in our ability to take tigers, which are the ones that are most often discarded in the industry, is our number of green level keepers. So we have a very structured volunteer program where people take care of these big cats. And for them to take care of the lions, tigers, and leopards, they have to have been with us for more than 2 years. And having somebody there to take care of the cats during the week is really tough. There's plenty of help on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
We have over 100 volunteers, but most of those people are coming on the weekends. So that's what limits us in our ability to take more of the tigers.
I see. So if someone called today and said, hey, we have this tiger or these 2 tigers that were discovered at such and such a place, you'd have to say, we're just not equipped at the moment to take on any more tigers. But if someone called with a bobcat,
right,
you'd say, yeah, we got 3 empty cages, bring them on down.
In fact, a woman from a sanctuary, one of the oldest sanctuaries in the United States, came just a couple of weeks ago, and she said, I want you to take my cats. And I said, how many cats do you have? She has 58, mostly lions, tigers, big cats, and she can't afford to take care of them anymore. So where do all those cats go? And this is a huge problem all across the country.
Yeah. Well, we might get into that because, yeah, it's so hard. Well, you're on the good side of it, but it's so hard for sanctuaries. Sometimes people fall into having sanctuaries, and they don't realize kind of what's involved and what the commitment level is and what the cost level is going to be. And then, whether it's a few years later or something, maybe this is many years later, all kinds of financial and other various factors say, hey, now what? So, and then if your capacity are close to it, and she's got 58 to try to find homes for, just competitive. So how did the cats that are currently living with you at Big Cat Rescue get there? I mean, maybe can you just give us a little sampling of 2 or 3 stories of how a certain cat arrived there or under what circumstances?
Well, we just celebrated our 20th year, and 20 years ago we were at an auction where taxidermists were bidding on a bobcat, and so to keep her from being killed and made into a den decoration, we brought her home. And that led us to discovering that cats were being held in fur farms. And so the next year we rescued 56 bobcats and lynx off of a fur farm in Minnesota. The following year, 28 bobcats and lynx. And the year after that, another 22 bobcats and lynx. And then people started calling and saying, would you take my lion, would you take my tiger? And so that's when we started discovering, this was like 95, 96, that there were so many of these animals in backyards and basements. One of the most recent rescues we just did were 5 servals, which is like a cheetah-type cat that a woman was keeping in her basement in New York. New York has finally passed laws against keeping these animals as pets, but whenever they pass laws like that, they allow the animals that the people have to stay because they don't want to displace them. But she ended up having to move because of financial issues, and she couldn't take them with her when she moved. So
So in those situations, those kind of cats are sort of grandfathered in, as it were, then, on when that kind of legislation is passed?
Yes, I mean, you'll always hear the breeders and dealers saying, oh, these animals are all going to get killed. That's not true. The states have been wonderful in grandfathering in the existing animals and just not allowing the people to continue to breed and buy and
Right,
sell.
so that woman, if she had gone a different way, couldn't add more cats, but and now she's not sure what she's going to do, but as of that law, she was fine with the ones that she had by the time the law passed. She
Right.
just couldn't get any more. Okay. And so okay, so they come from basements and from various other scenarios, and how often do they come from either sort of more legitimate zoos and or circuses?
In the past, the zoos were really notorious for wanting to have cute little cubs on display every year. And so what they would do is they can't have all of these cubs stay there every year because they'd have to be building these multi-million-dollar enclosures for them.
Sure.
So they were shipping them out the back door to private brokers who would then sell them to private owners. And there was a great book Alan Green did called Animal Underworld, and he covered the black market industry of these animals, and that made the zoos stop dealing with the private sector directly.
Yeah.
They still deal with brokers who still sell them to the private sector. But in today's world, the biggest number of exotic cats that end up being displaced are those that are bred for pay-to-play sessions, where you pay to have your picture made with a cub, or you pay to go in and pet a cub, or like here at Dade City Wild Things, you pay to swim with a cub. And they can only use those cubs usually between the ages of 8 and 12 weeks under USDA guidelines. So that means they have to be breeding new cubs every month.
They have to be replenished, as it were.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we'll come back to pay to play in a sec, just because that's going to, I think, fit into some other larger conversations about legislation and other efforts. But just a few more things on Big Cat Rescue itself. Talk about the ways people can visit the sanctuary and take tours or otherwise see some of these cats that we're referring to.
The only way that we allow people to visit is on a guided tour, and the guided tours are an hour and a half long. They have one of our keepers go around with them, introduce them to the cats, and tell them the stories about how those cats got there. And our mission is to educate people as to why they shouldn't be going to see the latest cub at the zoo, or why they shouldn't be paying to play with an animal in a mall, or why they shouldn't be going to the circus. And it's been a huge help to us in our legislative efforts, because as these people now are coming off of the tour, what we have them do is go straight into the gift shop, pick up the phone, and call their lawmaker. And we've had over 700 calls to our Congress to support the bills that we currently have pending that would end the private possession of these animals.
And how many are actually made from the gift shop, where people are that inspired coming off the tour? Or are you saying all 700 have come from the gift shop?
700,
wow.
The ones we logged in the gift shop.
They're eager to get to it and take some action. Wow.
Tens of thousands have sent emails through our website, but those making the calls are the ones that really have the impact.
Well, that's really interesting, because it obviously sounds like there's an educational impact that's strong and immediate, and as part of the immediate educational impact, there's an immediate legislative impact. Because at the same time, many accredited sanctuaries, particularly those housing exotic animals, do not allow visits really of any kind, or maybe open a couple times a year as a kind of a big open house fundraising thing. So for you, it sounds like the pros of these tours and what kind of impact it engenders outweighs whatever cons that even you and certainly other sanctuaries might feel that there are about having the public on the grounds that regularly.
Actually, we make it our primary mission that the animals that are at the sanctuary are not compromised in any way by having the public come in. We have a lot of cats who really don't like to see the public, and so they're not on our tour route. They get room service from their keepers twice a day, and they don't have to deal with the public at all. But for a number of our cats, they're bored out of their minds. These are incredibly intelligent animals, and they're stuck in a cage all day. And so for them to see a group go by is enrichment, and for those cats that enjoy it, it's a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to educate people and have them really get emotionally connected to these animals. So we've actually had a number of conferences out at the sanctuary for other sanctuary leaders, and they've talked to them about this and said, Absolutely, you should not compromise the welfare of any of your animals to do this, but if there are ways that you can accommodate the public, it's a great way to really get them engaged with your mission.
And it sounds like a pivotal thing is having those ones that are off the tour, because even before you explain it, I was thinking, because of how some of them came there, I would think, you know, the last thing some of those would want to do is see any human other than maybe somebody was bringing them that day's breakfast or whatever. But certainly groups of people would probably trigger you know, flashbacks and other unpleasant feelings. So okay, so that's how it's the pluses. And just while we're on it, what constitutes, because we mentioned that Big Cat Rescue is accredited, and you referred to that. What constitutes an accredited sanctuary?
We're accredited by the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, and they are an independent accrediting body. What they're looking for, and they have two different levels, they have accredited and verified. So accredited are for organizations like ours that do not buy, breed, sell, trade, allow public contact with the animals, nor take the animals off-site to do like school presentations and that sort of thing. So
brief devil's advocate. So